And there we go. All right, little issue there. Figured it out. Not too much of a big deal. All right, so what I want to go over today with you guys is all of the leaks that we've gotten for BlizzCon. And I'm going through every single one that I'm aware of. If there's any that I missed, you guys can point it out. And for those of you watching this in video form, this was live streamed. And I want to give a quick little update on some stuff with the live streaming and whatnot. So originally, I had planned on doing the Respawn series, like with the live stream every now and again. Wasn't going to do it every single time, but after I finished the one last week, I didn't particularly like it. There was a little too much downtime, I think. So I'm going to go back to the old way of handling the Respawn, where people just leave questions in the comment section of the community tab on my YouTube channel. But I still want to live stream. So what I'm going to do is some other things, which is kind of like what I'm doing right now. There are certain topics that I'll just live stream the video and I'll talk about it a little bit, and then it'll give me an opportunity to kind of interact with you guys a little bit more. I used to live stream all the time, like almost every day, pretty much, for quite a while, back when I was playing some other stuff like Minecraft and CSGO. And yeah, I even did a lot of Overwatch streaming for a little while, but anyways, I kind of want to get back into that a little bit more. So the idea is that there are going to be a couple topics. Maybe I'll try to live stream, like, I don't know, once or twice, maybe even more often. We'll see how it is. But I'll figure out like a topic, or maybe I'll put up a poll or something and let you guys, vote on what topic you want and all that kind of deal. But anyways, so tonight, however, I want to talk about, I gotta mute myself so I don't hear it. I want to talk about the leaks, because if you haven't been paying attention, there have been a ton of leaks for BlizzCon, and since it does start on Friday, and it's Wednesday right now, so it's just a couple of days away. All right, so I also changed around the what do you call it a little bit. Oh, you know what? Hold on, before I forget. I know you guys want face cam a lot, so let's turn that on, and there you go, face cam. Magnificent creature right there. All right, so let's get back. All right, let's get into it. Oh, actually, you know what? Hold on. Before I get to that, I do want to point out one other thing. I did actually get another. I put another T-shirt design on my store. It's not actually for me. It's not like Blame the Controller Gaming one. It's well, let me show you. So this is actually I put a shirt together. It's like one of those retro 90s, it's got like the different designs and shapes and patterns and stuff. And it says 100% cat blob. And I'm going to put it on the cat's Instagram, because they have their own Instagram, because they are that important. It's @RealCatBlob, by the way, if you're wondering. And I'm gonna put it on there, but I'm not gonna make like a second shirt store. I'm just gonna put it into mine, right? So if you go to my regular merch store, you can also get some fabulous real cat blob stuff. Anyways, all right, so let's move on to the actual content here. So let's switch it over. I set up a bunch of this stuff, so this should be good. There we go. And got to turn cat cam back on. There we go. All right. Loud equals funny. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. All right, so let's go through all of them. Let's start with the non-Overwatch stuff, just because that's going to be really fast and I can just run through it. So the first thing was the Diablo Remastered. This was supposed to be a thing, and well, it's just kind of like there's not really any evidence of it, because the only evidence was that someone said it. And then we also had, these were the old icons, and then these are the new icons right here, right? So people were saying, oh, well, you know, they changed the icon, so they're going to have a new version of the game. That's not the case. Those icons were changed quite a while ago, so that by itself is basically nothing, right? So that's nothing. However, continuing on Diablo stuff, another one that we got is this right here. This is the German magazine leak, and this has basically the art book. It's an advertisement for the art book, and it says something to the effect of explore the wonderful world of Tristram, blah, 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 and the artwork from Diablo 1, 2, 3, and 4. And of course, the big thing right there is, oh, it's Diablo 4, right? So that's the really big thing, and obviously, it could just be a misprint, but it kind of seems unlikely. The thing is Diablo Immortal was very poorly received last year. Do you guys have phones? And they need to make up for it. So the rumor is that basically Blizzard understood that they really messed up. They messed up really bad. And that they kind of went into overdrive trying to make Diablo 4. Now, what do I expect them to have with Diablo 4? I mean, I'm not really sure. How far along could they be? I mean, they might have something to show us with, like, an announcement trailer or a teaser. I'm not quite sure how much full-on, like, gameplay we'll have. Because it just seems like if they started making this, let's say just before or just after last year's BlizzCon, that's not a lot of time. Like, I would expect them to have some basic stuff, but if they have put it this way, if they have a playable demo of Diablo 4 at BlizzCon, I will be very, very surprised. I think that they're more likely going to have just some stuff with, oh, I don't know, maybe some teasers, maybe some artwork, that sort of stuff, right? Like, I don't think it's anything super. Hold on, I gotta fix something real fast. Why does it? One of the things I don't like about the YouTube stream is that it resets all my settings every single time I try to stream. Like, whatever chat settings I had and whatever other settings I have, they just get wiped away. They don't save it. I don't know why they would do that. That doesn't make any sense. It's just a little bit more kind of annoying every time I try to stream. But anyways, continuing on. There was another Diablo-related thing, which is this right here. And this image was, I don't know where it was supposedly taken from, but it talks about Lilith, who is one of the characters in the previous Diablos, And it says, let me zoom in a bit here. We've got banished for eons, yet integral to the history of the eternal conflict. The daughter of hatred was one of the fabled renegades who created the human world of Sanctuary. And yet, despite her long absence as she languishes in the abyss, she shall return. The mother of Sanctuary will come back to her children, and it shall be a great and terrible day for all of them, blah, 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 blah. Lilith only appeared briefly in the Diablo games during Diablo 2's Pandemonium event. Even though her presence has been felt many, Lilith's debut in Diablo 4 is a reimagining of her form that's previous appearance, or new design, blah, blah, blah. Victor did not initial design. Braum did his own iteration, things differently. I've always really liked that. Something, something, something. Okay, so there you go. And then you have another image of the character there. So, it looks like if this particular leak is true, then it looks like Lilith could very well be the big bad, right? I talked about this in a previous video, right? They've already beaten Diablo. Like, Diablo 1, you smacked them down. Diablo 2, you smacked them down again. Diablo 3, you did it a third time, right? Like, some of the expansions, you would have to go against other people, like, who's it, like Ball, I think, and then in Diablo 2, was it? Can't quite remember. It's been so long. Diablo 3, you had the angel thingy, and it's just, like, how many times can you just beat up Diablo, right? Like, you've already done it 3 times. Like, he just keeps coming back. So, it seems like they really got to come up with something different. I mean, I know the namesake of the game series is Diablo. But, I mean, at what point do you say, okay, you've just beaten him? I mean, it kind of reminds me a little bit about, like, the Zelda games, where you just keep beating Ganon again and again and again. Now, at least in that one, in the Zelda games, at least they take place in, like, kind of, like, different timelines and blah, blah, blah. And with Mario Brothers, like, you just keep beating up Bowser, right? But, none of that is, like, it's not like it's in the same story. Whereas with Diablo, like, it's one continuous story, right? Like, you have Diablo 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and they're all in one big story. Whereas, like, the Zelda games are broken into different timelines and continuities and all sorts of, whatever. So I don't know. Diablo will never be defeated. I guess, what was the, so in the first Diablo, you destroy his body, but it actually wasn't his body. So that's the thing. You've never actually defeated Diablo himself. Now that I think about it, you've never actually defeated Diablo himself. Because in the first one, his soul, or whatever, his essence, was trapped in that soul gem, which was put into that guy's forehead. I forget who it was. Was it the king or the son? The king's son, or the prince, I think? Something like that. So you beat that form, which is, being kind of taken over by Diablo, and it's changed. And then in the second one, it's the Wanderer, which is the Wanderer in the second one is the guy that actually beat Diablo in the first game. Like, that's the actual story for it. The main, so in that one, it's the same situation. Like, the soul gem is there, and you defeat the body. And then in the third one, it's, what's her face? I can't remember. It's been too long since I played the game. But again, in none of these cases have you ever actually defeated Diablo in his own body, right? Like, you've always defeated some kind of, like, an avatar of some sort. So, I mean, maybe they could actually, like, so where is his body? Does it even exist anymore? I think in the story, I know, like, his soul was trapped in that first gem in the first game. But, like, whatever happened to his actual physical body? I don't think they've ever actually answered that. Maybe it was destroyed in the first one, or like prior to the events of the first one, something like that. I don't know, but they do need to have some sort of better villain. But anyways, let's move on. If you have some character concepts for Overwatch that you'd like to share, my Discord server is probably a much better place for that, because there's a bunch of different categories and all that sort of stuff where you can go ahead and share all of that. All right, so moving on. That took a little bit longer than I expected, but let's quickly run through the World of Warcraft ones, and then we'll get to the Overwatch. So this is a World of Warcraft leak, and when this was first put out there, people thought that it possibly could be fake. It was attached to some other image as well. But first of all, this is some really, really high quality artwork. So whoever made this did a really good job. And if they were trying to pass this off as like someone faked this, then I don't know, like, how long would it take an artist to make something like that? That is super, super high quality. But in any event, as it turns out, this image was actually taken from Blizzard's official store. And we have another thing for Overwatch about that as well. But what we have here is, what is that dude's name? Oh, I think it begins with a B, doesn't it? It's been so long since I played this. Someone in chat's gonna know. What is this dude's name? I know it's the Lich King, but like, I want to say Boromir, but that's Lord of the Rings. It's not Arthas. Arthas is dead. That's not Arthas. Bolvar. Thank you. Several of you guys for throwing that out there. Appreciate it. Bolvar. Okay, so the thing with Arthas, who was supposed to be the Lich King, they messed up his story, by the way. I don't know why. They apparently, like, they made the decision to just get rid of Ner'zhul altogether and just make it all about Arthas, which I didn't like at all. Because when Arthas put on the armor and when he had Frostmourne, he ceased to become Arthas. Like, he was being controlled by Ner'zhul. And apparently there was some book, like an expanded universe book, and there was like some fight internal, like in the magical realm or something, between Arthas and Ner'zhul, and Arthas ended up winning, and that's why he had full control of the body, and Ner'zhul is just kind of like an extra little, he's like a teeny tiny little voice off in the really, really far back. Yeah, I don't like that. I think Ner'zhul would have been so much cooler. Anyways, Ner'zhul was an orc, by the way, and I think it was Kil'jaeden, perhaps, or maybe Archimonde, one of those. They basically tore his body out and made him into the Lich King, and then Arthas ended up taking the armor and all that sort of stuff. But anyways, Arthas got taken out, and there needed to be a Lich King, so Bolvar volunteered, because Bolvar was pretty messed up. During one of the cutscenes, he was hit with the Forsaken, basically like the gas, right? And at the same time, he was hit by the Dragonfire from Alexstrasza. So he was seriously messed up, which is why part of his body looks like he's on fire. It's from the dragon flame. So he's like ice, but he also has Dragonfire in him as well. And you can see that he still has the crown and whatever, but he obviously doesn't use Frostmourne anymore because that was broken and it was used as one of the legendary artifact weapons, blah, 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 by, I think it was the Death Knights in one of the more recent expansions. And then I think the story is that all those legendary weapons were sacrificed at the end. But so he needs a new weapon, which is why he has that big hammer. And it's kind of reminiscent of like the paladin type stuff. I don't think Bolvar was a paladin. I think he was a warrior. And it obviously has the big skull and stuff. Point of all of this is real artwork, and it was found on the Blizzard Gear store. And this kind of leads into the next thing, which is this. This one was also thought to be fake. And this is enter the Shadowlands, explore the glorious land of Bastion, meet the noble Kirinani? Hold on. Kyrian. Kyrian? Kyrian. We're gonna go with Kyrian. Okay. Bolvar was a paladin? Okay. I don't know, it's been a while, dude. Discover new abilities. So anyways, this is supposed to be the expansion, the Shadowlands for World of Warcraft. We're talking about current World of Warcraft, not the classic. Explore the land of Bastion. Boop, boop, boop. It's a bad joke. Anyways. Explore the land of Bastion. Lowest pick rate in the game. So what we've got here is supposed to be this area where everyone, like, wherever you die in World of Warcraft, like, this is that place where everybody goes, right? And supposedly this is where Sylvanas is trying to go. And I have a feeling that they're going to try to make Sylvanas like the big bad of the next expansion. Or if she's not, then maybe she'll be like the Kel'Thuzos, or like just the minor big bad, you know, not the biggest of the big bad, but like the minor bad in the expansion. And whoever it is, maybe it's supposed to be one of the old gods or something like that, Enzoth or something. But so originally this image was put out there and a lot of people were like, oh, this is totally fake. But now that we have that other image confirmed to be real, is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So this one is confirmed to be real because it was taken off of the Blizzard Gear store, so we know that this is real. So that makes this maybe a little more real. Okay, so you know, I talked about this earlier. I really hope that they have an expansion for WoW Classic. And I'm not talking about just like the Burning Crusade. I think it would be way cooler if they had an expansion that is actually using the classic architecture. Because there's a whole bunch of areas, I think there's like 5 in Eastern Kingdoms and 1 in Kalimdor, where you could go and they could add expansions, right? Like just add 5 levels and you can have other zones and stuff like that, but keep the old classic stuff. And with Warlords of Draenor, there is kind of like a split in the time, right? It's like multiple timelines, right? And that's like kind of what Gul'dan was doing. He came over from the other timeline. So they could treat WoW Classic as if it is a different branching timeline. And I think that would be way cooler, because then you can still keep a lot of the same kind of the rough, the kind of toughness of the classic and the vanilla, while still expanding and keeping new stuff. So people that want a more casual experience, they can go with the new game, you know, the retail version, and people that want a kind of tougher experience can go with the classic. And from what I can tell, the WoW Classic is selling crazy. So, I mean, it's not like it's not popular enough for them to do it. All right, let's move on to the Overwatch stuff, though. So, I think the very first... So there was a bunch of leaks. There was a bunch of leaks with Overwatch. And these came from a streamer named Metro, I believe. I think he was the first one. And the thing is he put out all this information, but he didn't have anything to go along with it. No images, no nothing. It was just him saying it. So, you know, those are the worst kind of leaks because, you know, there's no evidence whatsoever. I mean, if you have an image or something, then, you know, maybe that's a little bit more. But when it's just some dude saying something, it's like, okay, well, I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt, like a really big grain of salt. And so this was probably the first image that we got. And prior to this, we had gotten stuff like, Overwatch 2 is going to be its own standalone game. There's going to be no transfer of character skins. It's going to be PvE, all this sort of stuff. And here's the thing. A lot of the stuff that was being kind of leaked about Overwatch 2 is stuff that I predicted months and months and months ago. And I'm not claiming to be like some super fortune teller or nothing, because if I was able to when I heard about an Overwatch 2, I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be campaign, it's probably going to be story, and, it's cooperative, and it's probably going to be an expansion or something. It's going to run similar, 4 people, just like with the archive events. And it just seemed like that was kind of the thing that would happen. And obviously, I'm not the only person that came up with that, right? I'm not the only one that came to that conclusion. It's not like it was this super difficult thing to come up with. So it's entirely possible that other people were just kind of throwing out these predictions as if there were leaks, right? And you see this stuff with all kinds of stuff, with like certain long-running TV shows and movies and whatever, right? So this was the first image that was leaked, and some people pointed out a bunch of stuff about it. First of all, Tracer looks different, clearly, but the thing that people were pointing out was that, like, the hair just doesn't look finished, right? It's like it's like it's missing some textures or something, right? And then another thing that was pointed out is this, like, look at that, right? Like, what? Like, what's going on there, right? And then you got this, right? It's like sloppy. You got like these extra little bumps and stuff, and like this, and you've got this weird texture around it. And then you look at like this just looks sloppy. Like, it's not a nice clean edge. It's just, I can't zoom in anymore. I have to constantly hold my scroll wheel button in order for it to actually zoom any further. So you can see, like, it's just sloppy, right? Like, basically what this looks like is someone made someone used a tool that creates the squares, except it was like the rounded square tool, right? Like, that's the one that they used. And then they just created the rounded square. Then they cut out a square in the center. And then they, like, used the little eraser to kind of try to draw as straight a line as they could. And it just looked a little sloppy. And then on this one, they just kind of, like, cut away a piece of it. Like, that's what it looks like. And then some of the other ones, some of these edges look okay. Like that, obviously that's messed up right there. That's messed up right there. That's messed up. That looks just terrible. Like, what's going on with that? They got the little symbol though. But anyways, the point is, it just looks sloppy. Now, some people, and as just mentioned in the chat, it could have been a screenshot from a video, which is why there's some kind of distortion, like there was an animation or something as it was kind of like coming in and whatnot. That's one possibility. Another possibility is that it was deliberately made to look kind of grungy, right? Let me show you Overwatch. Okay, where are the sprays? I have pretty much every spray in the game saved, just in case I need to use them for something. Where is it? Here we go. So this, it's gonna be a little tough to see here, but if you look, like, this is a spray that's in the game, and you can see, like, it's deliberately bad, right? It looks deliberately bad. And then here's another one. And this one, like, let me try to zoom in over here. This one, you can see kind of the same thing, right? It's not quite. It's a little bit similar. And then here's another one. That's just the words, though. But you can see, like, they added the grungy and spray paint effect of it, perhaps in an attempt to kind of make it look like it's grungy, basically, like it was kind of just haphazardly thrown on the wall, as opposed to being the super clean cut thing. So you have that there. So that was the first image, and although Tracer looks pretty good in this, right? Like you can see that's pretty high detail on like the equipment and stuff, and that looks pretty decent. But obviously the hair and the other stuff. So that's the first one that we got. The second one is this, and I'm pretty certain that this one is fake. So this looks like it took the previous one. You can see like it's still got some of the grunginess on it and some of the like the incorrect stuff. So that looks like it took that, and apparently this part right here is actually something that an artist made. Like he did like some sort of a trace of the character or something. So this apparently was just like a rip. I can't 100% verify that, but that's what I heard. Also, there's some other stuff on the cans here that just doesn't look quite right. But this one, probably fake. Okay, probably fake on that one. The third image that we got is this right here. And this supposedly came from a book that is like a training manual for Blizzard staff at BlizzCon. So, ESPN claimed to have gotten a hold of this book, and they said there was a whole bunch of stuff in it, and then later they had to change the article, and they took out some of it. But this image looks like it is the Rio de Janeiro map, right? One of the ones that you have for Lucio Ball. And obviously you have Lucio. That looks like a much higher res version of Lucio than we currently have in the game or in any of the animated shorts or anything like that. So you can see individual hairs. So that looks like it's a much higher quality. Also, should point out that this looks actually clean. Like all the edging is proper and everything right there. Like this looks like it was cut out properly instead of just a mess. So apparently this image was taken from that book, right? And if that's true, then this is a very good sign that the game actually is what we expected it to be. Now, we ended up getting some more information along with this particular article that was attached to this image, which is that it is supposed to be 4-player campaign, right? Just like what myself and a lot of other people expected it to be. It's a co-op. There's 4-player campaign. One of them takes place in Rio de Janeiro, and it is a Lucio-specific mission. Now, what this is exactly, don't know, but Vishkar does have a significant presence in that area. In fact, during the Lucio Ball map, you can see Vishkar buildings off in the background. So it very well could be that Lucio gets help from some of the recalled members of Overwatch, and then you go out and you do the whole mission and whatever. It's to help Lucio. He already kind of recovered a bunch of his dad's stolen property and that sort of deal. Maybe he is just trying to shut them down, or maybe he's trying to get some more stuff or whatever. But I think there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be going against Vishkar stuff. Probably maybe like Omnix and maybe some hard light stuff and some bots and that sort of deal. Not specifically like Talon people like we saw in some of the archive missions like Retribution and Storm Rising, that sort of stuff. It's probably going to actually be Vishkar people. Another thing we got from this, so part of that article was that hinting or strongly implying that Echo was going to be Hero 32. However, they later on took that out, and they said, oh, well, we aren't really sure about it, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, come on. You said you had the book, right? The training booklet thing. Either it says it or it doesn't, right? So, it is what it is. They also kind of walked back a little bit about Overwatch 2 being a sequel, because now they're saying, you know, they're not sure if it's a sequel or if it's an expansion or if it is kind of like what Fortnite did with their Chapter 2 stuff, right? Where it's still the same, you know, it's the same game. It's just a little bit better. Maybe the, you know, some of the coding or the architecture of the game was improved or whatever. I kind of I don't know if they're going to do that. I feel like, and I've talked about this before, I really feel like it's going to be an expansion, because that is what Blizzard likes to do, right? They like to do expansions, whether it's Warcraft or Starcraft or Diablo, whatever. Expansions. You have to own the base copy of the game. And there's a couple of good reasons for that. One, it forces new people to buy the base game in addition to the expansion, right? But also, it means that they don't have to completely remake everything, right? Like, if it's the same thing, they just build it onto it, then they don't have to completely redo everything. Now, as far as calling the game Overwatch 2, again, it may not be like Overwatch 2 as in sequel. It might be Overwatch Chapter 2 or Phase 2 or whatever, right? Like, Overwatch 2 might just be some sort of internal name, or perhaps it is just kind of what they reference it, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that you know, it's a full-on sequel or anything like that. And I do understand that, like, the name Overwatch 2 can, you know, be a little bit confusing, and that sort of deal. But all right, so the next image that we have is of Sojourn, and this character we've seen before in some of the missions, and she is part of Overwatch. She's a captain, I believe. Now, I mentioned that she has a fake arm in one of the next images, but apparently she actually has a fully, or not like an entirely, but a very large amount of her body has been replaced with the cybernetic stuff, similar to Genji. Apparently, there are some voice lines during the Storm Rising event where Sojourn is actually talking to Genji about how they're similar in that they had, you know, massive kind of reconstruction through the cybernetics and stuff. So apparently most of Sojourn is also like robotic. So this is the next image. Now, as far as abilities and stuff, we have absolutely no idea. The next image here is, it's a little difficult. I gotta zoom in. So you can see this is Sojourn right here, and you can see she does have that fake arm, but again, that's like just her whole body. And you can see this right here, this tube that's, you know, pumping some kind of fluid in there, possibly controlling the arms or giving extra strength to them or something. She also has a pack on her back that kind of looks a little bit like what Torbjorn and Brigitte have, right? So you've got that, and also on her shoulder is what appears to be maybe a maple leaf or something. Some people have mentioned that maybe this means that she's a Canadian hero, something like that. I mean, it's heavily stylized, if it is, that's what it's supposed to be. And then, of course, we have Reinhardt right here, who seems to have a much bigger beard than before. Obviously still wearing the same armor. He's got a ponytail now, it looks like, anyways. Looks like he's got a ponytail. But Reinhardt's much older. Then we have Mercy, who's kind of floating, it looks like. I mean, maybe she's standing, but I don't know. It looks like she's floating. I mean, I know she can fly and everything, but does she just fly around, like around the house and stuff? Like when she's back at base, does she just like float through the hallways, right? You can't hear her coming. She can sneak into your office when you don't even know she's there. She just all of a sudden pops into your office. You can't hear her coming because she's floating. Might be mid transition. Maybe she's gliding down. I think she just likes to float around. I think she likes to just fly around because other people can't. And then we also have Lucio. And I don't know if this was taken at some weird point, or maybe this is like a somewhat broken animation or something. But what is going on with Lucio's hair? It's like he dipped his hair in glow stick stuff. Like, what is going on? It's also like sticking like straight out, like it's spiked or something. I'm guessing that's probably some sort of just I'm guessing that's just kind of some weird animation glitch or something like that. It might be a hologram. That doesn't make any sense though. Like even if it was like the rest of his body looks fine. He does have what appears to be a new uniform too, so that looks like a new character skin for him. He went Super Saiyan. I don't know about that one. Blissful, thank you for the super chat. How woke is the story gonna be? Probably too much. Probably too much. It's a shame. I don't know. Sacrificing good character development and story just to score woke points is so dumb. It's not just video games either. I mean, TV, movies, and stuff do it too. Just make a good story, man. That's all you gotta do. Just make a good story. So anyways, we've got Super Saiyan Lucio over here. We've got Floaty McMercy over here. And then Old Man Reinhardt and Robo Sojourn over here. All right, the next image is this one right here. And this one supposedly shows what is going to be the new talent system. Now, you can look in the background. You can very clearly see a bunch of speakers and sound equipment. And then you can also see right here, you can see this is Lucio's, what do you call it? It's the, I'm drawing a blank here. It's his DJ board, basically, right? Like, this is his... When you use that emote with the, like, the Overwatch League emote, when he pulls out the whole big DJ board and he starts, like, throwing around the holographic discs and stuff, that's what that is. So this is almost certainly in Rio de Janeiro, right? So this actually looks pretty real. You can see there's a whole bunch of... if I move this over, you can see there's a whole bunch of speakers on the left-hand side as well, looking behind the front images. Now, for Tracer here, the hair looks a little bit better. It looks like it's gotten another pass. Also, the lighting looks like it's an orange lighting, and it does look like it's dynamic lighting. So this does look real. Now, we've also got the talents here. And a bunch of people have talked about this in one of my previous videos where I was showing this off. They were like, why is it showing only level 1 talents when Tracer's level 10? But the thing is, if you look at this, this is if I had to guess, this is the animation for hitting level 10, right? So this hasn't opened up yet. The level 10 stuff hasn't opened up yet, because it's still in the process of, leveling up the character. So it's just about to hit level 10. you get the big, the burst and the animation and blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. And then once that's done, it's going to open up, it's going to unlock these, right? So let's take a quick look at this. And you've got the adaptive reload. They reload when using any ability. That's pretty strong, right? Imagine auto reload every time you blink. It's really good, right? Hindsight recall damages, causes damage to all recently damaged enemies. So basically, if you hit someone and then you recall, they get hit again, right? As if you were doing it again. Now, I don't know if this is going to do the same amount or if it's a fixed, like, let's say you do 10 damage and then you recall, it does another 10 damage. Or does it do a fixed amount, right? And then level 10 abilities, flash blinking through enemies causes damage to them. The other one is chain reaction. Ultimate causes secondary explosions on enemies that are damaged by it. And then level 20 is vortex. Enemies are pulled towards the point of recall and snared. So that's a root, basically. It's the same thing. Well, usually okay, so here's the thing. This is the thing where Blizzard, where the Overwatch lingo is kind of broken. So a snare is a slow, basically. So this would be, a snare would be like what May does with the freeze and the cold. And then a root is what Junkrat does with his trap. So you get completely stuck into it. That's a root. Zarya's ultimate is also a root. I mean, you move around a little bit, you bounce around, but you still can't move. So a snare is a slow, and a root is a stop. But I get the feeling, I really get the feeling that this would be a root, more like Junkrat instead of a May slow. And then the next one is that elimination speed up your cooldowns, which would be very, very, very powerful. Now, obviously, all this stuff is only in PvE, although I do actually think that some talents might be a good idea for PvP. Now, you would have to pick them before... You'd have to pick them before the match starts. It would be kind of like in the hero gallery where you pick the character skin and stuff like that. You would get, or even when the match starts, you get like the first thing. Now, here's the thing though. It wouldn't be like you would have 3 tiers of talents. It would probably be it would probably be like 2 or 3 talents. The reason why, and they wouldn't be like straight flat out upgrades either. They would be more like side grades. So you could have talents that slightly change something about a character so that they can do something a little bit better or a little bit weaker. So depending on what kind of strategy you're running, you can go with one or the other. And the reason why I think that this would be good is because it opens up way more possibilities. It's kind of like, you're not quite adding a full new character, but like if you had, for example, if you have an Orisa that is slightly better towards utility versus slightly better towards defense, right? Like you could have one version of Orisa that has, a better fortify, and then you could have another version of Orisa that has a slightly better halt ability. So, like, you can pick one of those two. And it's not going to drastically... Like, it's not... Now, the trick would be making them equal in power level. So they would effectively be side grades of each other. But by doing that, you could add a whole nother level of complexity to the game, and by doing that, you would create more synergies, create more combos, which is ultimately better because then it means there's more possibilities, right? So anyways, then the next thing is this image right here. this image, fortify for the win, yeah. So this image right here, just like with that one that we had from, what do you call it? The one that we had from the World of Warcraft with the Lich King and Bolvar. This is also officially taken from the Blizzard gear store, and this is another art print. It's probably the same thing as the other one, where it's 3x5 or whatever it is, and like this big thing that you can put up on your wall. Probably has a nice frame or something in it as well, right? And you can see a couple of things here. Obviously, you've got Reinhardt, who appears to be a little bit older. You've got Mei, Genji wearing a hoodie. Genji is finally wearing pants. Some people have pointed out that Genji has finally realized that he wasn't wearing anything, and he's finally put on some pants. He's also wearing a hoodie, apparently. Now, the funny thing about the hoodie is that the hoodie actually has the glowy bits on it too, right? So like you can see through it. Like, is that cloth or like what's going on here? It's like he's got the glowy lights on the cloth. I don't know. Whatever. May, of course, and then Winston, Old Man Reinhardt. You've got the logo, which is from Torbjorn and Brig. It says 9 right there. So I think someone pointed out that it's 8 in the current version of the game. So this would be the next iteration of his armor. Tracer, of course. Brig. Mercy flying above everybody. And then, of course, Echo. And this is the big one. This, to me, looks like she is attacking or sending out... Now, maybe this is her attack right here. This kind of laser. Pew, 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 pew. Other people have mentioned that maybe she's absorbing something or she's blocking something. Really, no idea. I mean, it could be anything at this point. However, something that is very obvious is she is flying. So that's the next question, right? Like, is she actually a flying character? Is it going to be like Pharah, where you just kind of get into the air for a little bit? Or is it something like Mercy, where her guardian angel, where she just completely flies around and, has complete control and that sort of stuff? So, I don't know. I think if you had a character that just completely flies around, that would probably be way too strong. I mean, it would basically mean... So if you had a character that just had permanent flight, like Mercy during Guardian Angel, it would mean that a whole bunch of characters would never be able to hurt her, right? So you'd have characters like Zarya, Reinhardt, Brig, and a bunch others who could just never, ever, ever hit that character. And I don't think that's a good idea. It seems like you are kind of forcing the other team to play certain things. Like, there's a difference. Like, if the enemy team has a Winston, you can run Reaper because he's going to be a strong counter to him. If the enemy team has a Pharah, you can run McCree or Soldier or something. But if they're running this, it's like you would have to run certain things. Otherwise, you could just literally never hit them. And I just don't think that's a good idea, right? Because like even a lot of ground characters can still hit Pharah. Maybe not when she's all the way up in the air, but every now and again she does have to come back down to the ground. Even the best pro Pharah players still have to drop to the ground every once in a while. It's not like they can have this perfect thing, right? And then, yeah, I don't think that she could have like constant perfect flying. All right, so then the next thing, and this was sent to me. This is a website called Instant Gaming. I've never heard of it before. And this website is basically like a game seller, apparently. And you can buy stuff through them. It seems like it's like a third-party game seller. Anyways, the important thing that I want to show you here is this, right? You've got Overwatch 2. Okay, so this, I think I would be extremely surprised if this is the actual box art. I don't think so. Okay? I don't think so for a second. It looks like they pretty much just took some of the leaked images and they put some stuff on it, and that was it. So it looks like whoever runs the website is just kind of preemptively getting the stuff on their website, even though like it's not actually available. Because if you go to this other thing, right, you can see you know, no comments, it's not available, release date is unknown, it's just 2019. And then like you can look at this image a little bit better. Like this image is just one of the old promotional images for Tracer for Overwatch 1. Like this is, I think this was actually one of the part of the press kits for the game when it was first coming out. And then Overwatch 2. I wonder if it has the same it's kind of hard to see because it's like really zoomed out. I don't know. Maybe they cleaned it up a bit. Who knows? I don't think this is real at all. Like, I don't think this is the real, actual box art. It certainly doesn't seem like it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Real box art? I don't think so. I don't think so. All right. And what else? Those are all of the leaks that I have. I think that's all of the leaks that we've had so far. I mean, there's some other stuff where people are talking about how, you know, it's going to be its own separate game. I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea. You just split the you split the player base, right? Like if, sure, some people are going to get the new one, but you would still have a lot of people playing the old one. Right? Not everyone is just going to go out and buy the game, right? Like if they release a sequel, not everybody's going to go out and buy a new game. Someone super chat and tell BTC to pet his cat. Hang on. Hold on. Let's she moving? Oh, she heard it. She heard it. She knows. She knows. One thing she knows, it's food. Yeah, I don't think that having a fully separate game is a good idea for a whole bunch of reasons. Oh, there's the other cat here. Now she wants one. Ugh. The other cat just came out of the other cat just came out of nowhere. I don't know where she is. I don't know where she was, but she just, as soon as I started getting the treat, she suddenly appeared. Here you go. You can have that one. And then... there you go. Suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The cats are torties. Tortoiseshell is what it stands for. They're both female. They have their own Instagram @RealCatBlob. You can go and check it out. All right. So that's all the leaks that I'm aware of. It's possible we could get something tomorrow or the next day. Maybe, if we're lucky, someone will get a hold of like one of the goodie bags for BlizzCon, or perhaps one of the books or something, and they can actually like post pictures from it and whatnot. But otherwise, the opening ceremony is on... well, hold on, I have the schedule right here. Let's take a look. So the opening ceremony is on Friday, November 1st, and it is at 1 p.m. Central, which is 11 Pacific and 2 Eastern. So depending on where you live. Yeah, 11 Pacific, noon Mountain, 1 Central, 2 Eastern. So you've got the opening ceremony. Now, the thing is, opening ceremony is going to be free and available to everybody. At least it always has been in the past. So you can still go ahead and watch that, and that's where all of the big, like this 1 hour block, this is where all of the big stuff gets announced. So Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, WoW expansions. This 1 hour block is where everything gets announced. So that's what you can watch. They actually started up the opening ceremony live stream on the official Blizzard channel earlier today. It lasted for like 2 minutes, and then they shut it down, so they must have been testing it. And then we have all of the, the coming soon stuff. My guess is the coming soon is going to be like Diablo 4, Overwatch 2, whatever, World of Warcraft, that sort of stuff. That's going to be the big things right there. That's going to be what that is. So there you go on that. But again, I think that's all the leaks. And I do want to quickly remind you guys that YouTube has been changing a bunch of stuff lately, and it's frustrating. Let me put it to you that way. So, like at the beginning of some of my videos, you're gonna hear me saying stuff like, "Oh, hey, like and share," and that sort of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, YouTube changed the way their system works, and now it heavily favors all of those big companies and the celebrities and the late night shows, and the independent YouTubers just get buried by the algorithm. So hitting the like button and sharing the video is probably even more important. So share it on Twitter, share it on whatever. Just click the little share thing and then, pick whatever works for you. And sharing it that way, it just helps the video gain traction, because after 24 hours, the algorithm just buries it. It just gets completely buried. Unless you're one of those big companies or celebrities, or right, if you're Will Smith or somebody, then your channel, your video keeps getting promoted. But for everybody else, no. So when I ask that You know, certainly would appreciate if you like and share my videos, but don't just do it on my channel either. If you have other YouTubers that you watch, which I'm sure you guys do, help them out, right? Hit like on their videos, share their videos. Even if your Twitter account only has like 1 follower, share it anyways, because that's still going to count as a share. And who knows, maybe your 1 follower will go ahead and watch it. But yeah, support the independent creators, and hopefully YouTube kind of fixes that stuff. Oh, that's actually another good thing. Somebody brought that up. Are the leaks on purpose? That's actually a good question. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Could Blizzard be leaking this stuff on purpose? I mean, let's face it. Right now, Blizzard has got some pretty bad PR stuff going on. So if they were leaking stuff to kind of like distract people and take their mind off of it, I'm not saying that they are, but I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. So, do you think you should be able to buy coins, like the credits and stuff? I mean, if they get rid of the loot box system, I think, you know, buying the credits directly seems to be one of the next logical choices, right? 3D chess? Yeah, it's like 4D chess. It's not a cat, it's a bear. It's a bear. All right, anyways. So I think I am going to wrap up the live stream right now. That was every single leak that we got. Once more, certainly would appreciate it if you hit the like button, share it, all that sort of good stuff. I do have some more videos. I'm going to try to cover BlizzCon as much as I possibly can. I am not going to BlizzCon, which means I'll be able to make videos as soon as stuff pops out. But one of the advantages of going to BlizzCon is you get to, well, depending on who you are, you might actually get to learn some of the info soon, like before it actually gets announced. So you can make a video and then just release it right after it officially gets announced. But with me, like, I have to wait and watch just like everybody else, and then rush as fast as I can to make the video. But I'm sure there'll be tons and tons of content this coming weekend. So that is going to be everything for today. Thank you for coming by. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Remember, always blame the troller, because it's never your fault.